Howdy folks. For this video, we're going to be installing the Pro Kit for the Apple iPad Pros, and I guess you could use the same install methodology for the Airs. It's the Magic Keyboard accessories. We decided for this series to do an entire kit for the Magic Keyboard, and we're really happy with the way it came out. So the one thing I want to mention is like we always start by cleaning off the surface. The material used on the outside of these is kind of like a soft touch material. It can grab and hold on to dust. So it's very critical for you to make sure that you get this clean, otherwise you'll get little dust bumps if you're not careful. So I'm actually going to clean this one side at a time because of how much it can trap and hold on to dust. So we'll start with I think this is the back side here. Looks like I forgot to peel out this little camera bump thing. All right, so this is a very thin spot. You're gonna wanna make sure you peel this individually or by itself because you don't want to try and rip it off from the other side. I still, even though this is a smaller piece, I still like to peel from both sides. The vinyl we're using today is black camo. It's one of our most popular vinyls. I personally, it's one of my favorites because I like the way it feels. So when you lay this down, these are the bumps are curved. So this is designed to lay within the curve. It doesn't go right up to the edge of the curve. It's within the curve, like you can see here, and I'll do a close-up in a second. And if you lay this down correctly, you should see the outline of the Apple logo line up with the case. All right, so you want to put a little pressure to tack down the corners, and then that corner should just lay right down. Just had to redo this corner a little bit there. There we go. Now it's laying how it should. Okay. Use your squeegee, and you want to squeegee from the center outward. This, if you're using a non-textured vinyl and you've got a smooth vinyl, because of this soft touch, you may have to squeegee this a little bit longer because it may show like ripples and whatnot, but if you keep squeegeeing, it will come out. Or you can use your fingers if that's easier to attack certain points of the ripples. Okay. I'm going to give this a good wipe off down here at the bottom. And we just do the same thing for the bottom. And then optionally, if you want, we include a insert for the logo that should fall right inside the little indent here. I like doing the logos with the tweezers. It just makes it easier for me to wiggle it into place. Like so. Oh, looks like we got a little bit of a scratch. And the heat takes that right out. Okay. So just to give you guys an example here, like see how there's the curve where my fingernail is, right? The curve comes all the way up, and then we lay inside the curve. And really, you can really tell if you start doing this and you're not peeling up the vinyl, if you've got it laid down correctly. Like so. Okay, let's move on to the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off again. Another thing that might help if you still can't get the dust off is some Scotch tape. You can wrap some Scotch tape around and just pick it up with a little bit of adhesion. There we go. And this one's pretty simple. I mean, it's just a rectangle, so. We just do each corner. And you want to squeegee from the center towards the edges. Like so. And now we're going to do, we actually did some hinge skins too. So what I like to do is I like to put this in kind of like a tent mode like this. And I'm actually going to work from this cutout here to the sides. So you're going to want to peel from both sides. Let's see if I can move this back. I know it's a poor angle, but I'm just lining up the hinge cutout. You should see just a sliver of the material underneath. You want to tack down the middle, then around to the edges, and then just work out to the sides. Like so. And then we're just, like we're doing any sort of corner, we're going to work back and forth gradually to wrap it around. And then once you get towards the final interior piece of the hinge, you can use the blade of your squeegee to get that in there. If you want a sharper edge, because there is a little corner in there, you can use the non-felted side. And then now that we've got just a little bit of flap left here, you can use your squeegee to get in there and tack that down in there. Like so. Okay. Now before we go on the inside of this, there is a little strip that we put here. And I will note that it looks odd at first. All right, it's this little semi-rounded rectangle. You want this to be right up against the edge here. I'll show you why that is in a second. So I use my tweezers, and I'll just work my way across. It's a slight stretch. You just want to just butt it right up against the edge of that there. So the reason that doesn't cover the whole thing is when you do this mode, it's a very tight hinge. So we found that if we covered the whole thing, it would start peeling up after a few uses. So now we just do that. Great. Now on the inside, right, we've got a couple of strips here, and they're meant to be installed. There's a tab. You can see the tab goes on each of these corners. So they're actually in reverse order, right? So this goes over to this side. And what I like to do is I just use my tweezers to line it right up against the back edge there. And then work my way down. Like so. You can get the tab with the corner of your squeegee. And we do the same for the other side. So, and then we have a middle piece. And this little middle piece has little nubs because we have a curved corner here. So the nub should just fall right up against the edge here. And then a small stretch to get it to the other side. And we can just align the middle, and tack it down. Like so. Couple pieces left on the outside here. We've got edge caps for the, I think this is where the battery is stored, but the back hinge. One is obviously for charging, which is this little O or zero shape. Like so. And this other one is just a pill shape. Like so. And voila, the exterior is done. Now let's move on to the interior for those of you who are buying this separately and get the Pro Kit. You're going to want to wipe this off of any dust, debris, or oils. And now your kit will come with, it'll look like this. I cut this on some scrap because we were at the end of the roll, but yeah, so your kit, the interior will come looking like a full kit. These are very thin, right? So you want to make sure that you're careful when peeling this off. We did build in a little bit of stretch. It is undersized a little bit because to counteract if you're pulling it off and stretching it as you're peeling it. But like any other interior that maybe you've seen on our laptop series, we do the left palm rest first. And we're just kind of lining up with a slight reveal along the outside edge to that trackpad. And then we do the same up there. And each of the four corners should fall into place with a little bit of leeway. And you take your squeegee or your finger and tack it down. Now when we go to do the other side, again, I mentioned there's a little bit of stretch. So you just want to pull it just gently, and there should just be a sliver, just a sliver of that trackpad edge showing. And then, well, this fell right into place, but I'll show you in case it doesn't. You could just, slight little tug. Now for the tops and bottoms, this looks, if you stretched it, it should be relatively straight. You could just point tack it with your finger, but if for whatever reason it gets all wavy, you can slide under here, use your tweezers, don't use your fingers to get underneath because it'll stretch it. And then you just walk across, tacking as you go. The trackpad itself is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a rectangle. And we've also noticed that none of our skins interfere with the operation of the trackpad. That is a common question that we get. There we go. Now on the top, It's not too thin, but we did build in a very minor stretch to make it easier to install. I'm going to peel from both sides. And then we do one side first. Like so. And then if you want, you can do the middle. And then give it just a minor tug to the edge. It's not a lot. And then follow with your squeegee to tack. And that, my friends, is the interior. So let's see how it looks with the tablet on it. You can see it doesn't interfere with the trackpad. And now I've got kind of an Oreo aesthetic going on with black camo. See you next time. Cheers.